I told you this guy's a genius.
Self-proclaimed, maybe.
Well, as long as it works for him.
Exactly my point.
Awesome.
Yeah, because YouTube is quite demanding in terms of creating content. And that's why I have to really maintain a steady workflow, but also make sure that I do it in the best way, that it also works for me, because I know I have a lot to give. And to the people that want it, I'm giving it anyway, of course. Because what else would I do, right? So anyway, she just started to really project all her fear onto me then suddenly. And then she's like, do you have an identity card or something? And it's like, no. I said, actually, I'm just collecting opinions, right? But at that point, you know, she already had her child by her side, like, oh. I mean, can't you just support yourself, woman? Sorry. Anyway, I started doing these. Planks are basically the best exercise for you, for anyone. If you've got a lot of weight, right? Just start like this, you know, on your knees, like this. You can just start like this if you have a lot of weight. And then you can already, yeah, it's better to just do planks. I mean, it's not that hard. Just do planks. I mean, of course, in the beginning, it really sucks. And then you can do this. And also, try to relax this. Try to relax it a bit. I was like super tight, you know, I used to be like this. I'm trying to relax this. And in the beginning, you know, you just do it a bit. I mean, you don't start like this. That's not how I started. You know, I started like, first I used to do a lot of push-ups, but I realized push-ups actually make me weak. Because always this, it can build you up in the beginning, but it's also really strenuous on your arms. And I just want to train my arms to be strong when they're straight. Because, so that's the natural position, right? I'm not saying you have to punch. But that's where the strength comes from. Because this is the natural position. Then you can do this. Right. This is then part of the monkey yoga, how I name it. Because I literally feel like a chimpanzee, and that's the point. You want to become like a chimpanzee, like your mind is supposed to be that of the jaguar that you're trying to imitate. So you You observe animals. Don't observe people, only to find where you're lacking yourself. Because people are sick, right? I mean, they just sit all the time. They have broken bodies and broken backs, and if you walk the way other people walk, then you're going to imitate the behavior of a sick and wounded person. That's what you have to understand. I mean, most people, they just sit all the time. And I simply started to squat more. I haven't been squatting an awful lot, but I realized if I don't do it, I get real back pain. I'll get weak. I cannot stand for longer than 2 minutes, and that's already a stretch. So I just started to stand, to walk, and also, to squat more again. And that's what I mean also with the cannabis. Somehow it activated me. I smoked, suddenly I did all this art, like 12 images, I drew them, sketches, and then I still have to do them on the computer. And I did all that. But if I would tell that to people, they would be like, oh, why do you tell me this? Just to show you. You know, I go to a great length to get to the art that I'm making. And that's why it's good. I know that. Because I dig up deep shit. If you just do it, if you just let AI do it, it's not gonna be the same thing. But you can do it if you make it your own. If you just type in something, if you do just random shit, you really have to look for, don't just do what everybody wants you to do or what everybody thinks they need. Do what you want to give in the way that you want to give it, but also orient yourself. No, only ask your feeling. Don't look at what content people like. Just make the content that you want to make. And then you can start becoming a creator, because that takes a lot of devotion. Because every time, I look and I realize, oh yeah, okay, there's one video that has the most views on my channel, and that's from Paulo Coelho, Handbook of the Warrior of Light. Well, I did it basically as an idea for advertisement. But I actually didn't like it. I recorded audiobooks, but I realized if I do it now, I like free speech. I like talking about whatever I want to talk about. Of course, there are certain restrictions. If you use platforms on the internet, you have to be careful about certain topics, such as transgender, right? I mean, you can't really talk about this, because it's a very emotional topic. And if you get too angry, for instance, it's not even about that. I posted one article about it on Medium, and that was the 417th. And when I posted the last article, they just blocked my entire page. And that's where the book came from. They just didn't ask. They didn't really look at it. It was just the topic sorted out immediately. And all I said was, we need men, we need women. If we all become transgender now, okay, so let the transgender people be. But what I think is, if you only have, if nobody's allowed to speak but a transgender supporter, then this is going to be a very one-sided discussion, because there are still people that are uncertain about this and that also need people to speak up on the opposite side of the coin. Because if you only allow the transgender people to speak because they're so sensitive, then what you fail to realize that sometimes people are sensitive because they are just afraid or full of anger or rage. And sometimes if you just take the opposite opinion, you can allow, this person to just let it out on you. But you don't, you just maintain your point. To me, what I see in nature is that you have a role for men and women. And if you look at, for example, a tribe, then what I realize is the men do also different work than the women. There is a difference. You know, I think men are often also, they like being quiet and they like to be alone. I'm not so sure about women, because if you think about it, a woman is a totally different kind of character. You know, not just because of her body, it's also her nature that can be different. That's maybe also just getting used to the body, but you know, a woman needs to prepare herself to be with a child. So I feel like women are often also good in company. They also like their quiet space, but they also really like company. And so they, you know, that makes sense. Because a woman has to deal with having a child if she wants to have a child, right? And if you would easily get annoyed of people, well, yeah, that's a problem. But of course, a woman can also get by on her own, right? That's like, but some women, they're okay, you know, I'll just have a child, you know, and then I'll just say, I'll have a dog. Okay, men do the same thing. So you could say there's actually no difference then between men and women. That we just all have different spirits, and there can be basically a more manly type in a female body. But then it's, for that manly type, the challenge would be to learn how to deal with it, that you feel like a man, and then to realize, okay, but what's a woman then? And then instead of saying, you know, I have a female body, but I feel like a man. So, or other people give me the feeling I'm more like a man. Well, then I just maybe need a really strong man to balance me out. And that's a challenge. So if you like strong women, but they tear you apart, then don't give up on the challenge. You just train yourself to become better at it. Because if you can deal with a strong woman, I mean, you know what I mean? You can like wrap her around your finger, and then she's gonna be super sweet. Because you can tame her, and that makes no sense, but that takes a lot of devotion. This is just all theory, I think. But you can tame people, but only if they want it. It's like you do research, they say you're habituating the troop of monkeys. So you get them used to you. Which is why if you fall in love with someone, it doesn't mean that you can be like, from the beginning. Because such a relationship, if you want to have children, also needs stability. You know, it's not enough to just be like, no, you also have to be strong for each other, but also strong for yourself. So if you slip, your partner slips, which is why you have to maintain also a level of, you know, this can keep going for a long time without us killing each other. Because you want to create an environment of harmony for your children, which is why you first have to harmonize yourself. And if you're already in a position where there are children, well, then what do you have to do? Well, now you have to observe, is this harmonious? You just have to open your eyes and look at the situation. How am I doing? How are the people that I'm connected with, right? Family, parents, children, I don't know. Who am I supposed to have contact with? These are important questions that I ask myself. You know, there are people that I'm always testing myself with. Okay, am I supposed to go to my cousin or to my aunt and uncle? Yeah, we had more to do with each other in the past, and now when we meet each other, it's okay. But for me, it's too much of a stretch. And what I like to do is I just leave it up to life sometimes to reconnect me with people so that I know, okay, what's going on, right? I don't want to run around and think that people need me anymore. You know, that's how I was living. I thought everybody needs me. And that's why I could never really stay at home and relax, because I always felt like there's somebody who needs me. And now I can really stretch out the times I spend with people, which means I have more time for myself. And that's nice, but it's also a drag. And so, when it's a drag, you have to do something to lift your spirits. Ow, wow. So if you do squats, you know, I've been doing them already, not frequently, but over the last couple of years. So my legs are a bit used to it, but recently I've been really slipping, like I said. So it's also good to do other things. Like this is one of the best exercises here. Just relax into it. Just try to relax. You know, just relax into it. That's like somebody raping you. Just have to relax into it. Just allow. You can even do like this. Right, so there's always, and this is how you can start. Oh, this is really good. I'm always afraid I'm going to crash. So, and don't be an idiot about it. I mean, this is tough, but really necessary. So you don't have to start with an asana, which is the term for, you know, in yoga, they call it an asana if you have like a series of movements, because these are often quite advanced and you cannot get the posture right if your body is too weak. So I see people that just go to these yoga groups and they just do these things that the yoga teacher says, but they don't have the strength, right? They don't have to hold it. And that's the thing. You know what you should do with these people? Instead of doing all this stretching, you should just say planks. But everybody's so, oh, I'm sick, I cannot do more. I would say, all right, do planks now. But in order to motivate people that are completely unmotivated, I mean, you would have to have a lot of motivation. And some people that have sat for too long, they're just so broken. Of course, it's all just an excuse. You do it or you don't. And I've been focusing a lot on, wow, so blocked. That was neat. I'm super blocked, like everything hurts in my back, but it's been getting better. You know, because I've been walking a lot, my legs are super strong. You know, I've been doing a lot of work. So it's not just about sitting around and reflecting on your emotions. It's also pushing yourself physically. You just go to the limits of what you can endure. And then you make art. And that's, of course, if you live like this, you have to have potty breaks. You have to make a break. That's a potty break.